All right. Well, it has been 3.5 months since I have recorded any sort of an update on the things going on with us. So I apologize for that. It's been one of the toughest seasons in my life during this time, um, and now I don't want to say tough in sort of an exhaustion kind of way. Not tough like last fall was with when we lost a couple of kiddos. Not tough in a sad, um, despairing kind of way. Um, but has been, uh, I mean, there has been a fair amount of despair. When every day you're like, wow, there's no way I can do all of this, and we've got these kids. But anyway, let's get you caught up. So we moved down to Wise Street in Lynchburg, and we're there now. Right away, we started remodeling the kitchen, which needed a lot of work, and just working on other repairs that the house needed. There's still a lot to do, even though it has been 3.5 months. But the maybe most of the work is done. Hopefully, most of the money is spent. So I sure hope most of the work is done. But it has been having 3 kids, or 6 kids in the house, but 3 of them who have come, well, actually, really all of them have been to hard places, and a couple of them with some special needs. And just being in that situation where there's just no structure, you're living in a construction zone, you've got sometimes a dozen workers in and out of the house, all over the house, has been tremendously difficult, especially for Laura. And she has she's just been, well, there's been no rest over the last couple of months, and I think we've been experiencing I think really burnout more than anything else. By the way, I'm standing over here at Blue Ridge. We've been probably, I think is the best way to describe it is we've been experiencing burnout over the last few months. And So right now I'm studying rest and working, trying to work through that and understand what is God's plan and for us in Sabbath and in rest. And I don't have an answer for that. I've got some initial thoughts, but I don't think I'm going to share those just yet. Maybe in a separate video. But I know that our experience over the last few months hasn't been the way that God would want us to rest. But let me just give you some of the facts and some of the stuff that's been going on. So like I said, probably the biggest thing is that we have just been really overwhelmed for the last few months with all the work that's been done. I think it's a season. A lot of people have asked, how can I help? I don't have a great answer for that question. I really don't. I wish I had a gopher, somebody who would just stand by me and do whatever I told him to do, whenever I told him to, whenever I had an idea, like, oh, hey, this needs to be done. But, even that would be, doesn't everybody wish they had, like Alfred, like Batman's Alfred? But unfortunately, butlers are not very common in the United States, and I don't have the funds for one. So a lot of people have asked how you can help, and I wish I really wish I had a good answer for that. If you love kids and you wanted to spend time with our kids and take them out, and that might that might help. Because a lot of times I feel like I haven't been able to give my children the time that I'd love to. But anyway, again, let's talk about what's been happening. So we have met several people through this time, mostly contractors actually, who we had the opportunity to just kind of have some great conversations with, to speak into their life some. There's one guy who is from the neighborhood and has been coming to church with me regularly. He did miss today, unfortunately. I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, he's been coming to church and has expressed a desire to go to encounters. So I'm really excited about that and seeing that fruit. Another one of the contractors has, who's also become a friend of mine, has came to church once, and we've been able to have some great conversations. So I'm excited to see what God has to do in his life. So we are seeing some fruit. I think that there's a lot more to be seen, but at the same time, I also feel like this isn't going to be something that's about numbers. In fact, I hope it's not something about numbers. I want it to be something like I said, we moved downtown, and it took me a while to really be able to express this well. We moved downtown because we wanted to be good neighbors. We wanted a place to be good neighbors, and where being good neighbors was important. So that doesn't mean having 100 people come over for a barbecue, and for all of them to being good neighbors means building deep relationships with people in your community, and loving on them, being there for them, and my hope, honestly, is to do that, but also to maybe do that. This reason I'm posting this is maybe do that a little bit publicly, like this. So maybe some of you guys decide, hey, I want to do that. Maybe right where you are. I want to go across my big front yard to the people and I want to start to intentionally try to be a good neighbor. I wish I could say imitate me as I imitate Christ. I could say like I don't feel like I'm worth imitating, but like I'm definitely not Paul. So I don't want you guys to think that I feel that way. But that is my hope, is that we'll be able to have some small impact in a handful of lives. But through that the people in that handful, and maybe people, other people that we know and love, will make the choice to just maybe start living a little more intentionally. But at the same time, to not dive so far in that you're getting burned out like we are. But I guess if I had to choose, if I had to choose, I think I'd rather, burnout will catch up with you. A life of passivity, I don't think it will. You can live a passive, uninvolved life forever. If you go too far and you start to burn out, that'll catch up with you, and you'll stop. You'll have to stop, or you'll die. But if you just say, well, I don't want to burn out, and you never do anything, well, you can do that forever. So I guess if you're going to do one, I would recommend going a little too far and but then being sensitive to that and knowing when you need to back off and start to rest. Because we have one life to live, and I've got maybe another 40, 50 years here. So anyhow, that's what's been going on. School has started. There's been so many other things that have happened, and I just don't want to ramble. But we are downtown now. It has been exhausting. We'd ask for your prayers, without a doubt. That's, if you want to help us, pray for us. God knows how to just, if you want to help us, pray for us. Pray for us. Like, seriously, pray for us, and trust that God will provide for us where we need. Pray that we will have rest. But it has been amazing. We have formed some great friendships down here. And then the other way, if you want to do something, ask in your life, what's my next step of obedience? What's the next thing that God has for me? And how can I step into that and make sure that I'm being obedient and loving, as much as I possibly can. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions or whatever, and I'll try to answer those. But I'm gonna follow this up with maybe some of my thoughts about rest and some of the things that God's been teaching me. But that'll be a separate video. All right, thanks, guys.